This is my first real cooking video. It's a follow-up to the $119 grocery run that I did. I'm basically going to be doing a little bit of bulk cooking right now. I'm going to make a breakfast casserole. I'm going to brown the entire 5.5 pounds of ground beef. I'll use that in various recipes throughout the coming weeks. Once it's browned, I can freeze it. I can dehydrate it. Several ways to keep it in working order and edible by cooking it all now, and either, like I said, either freezing, freeze drying. It will be fine in either situation. For my casserole, I'm going to be using, this is a breakfast casserole, I'm going to be using 10 eggs, one half of my turkey sausage, and 1 pound of hash browns. I'm also going to be batch cooking a bunch of rice. I can use that for various dishes. I've got something in mind with rice and black beans and the other half of my sausage. Kind of a jambalaya, however you say it. We'll see how that goes. I've never made that from scratch. But I'm just going to break some eggs here. This should be a very filling breakfast. Lots of protein from the eggs alone. Protein also from the turkey sausage. Some starches and carbs from the potatoes. And there's my 10 eggs. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. I know that I did not purchase this on my run, but I did have some garlic powder here. Add a little garlic powder. I don't own a whisk, I just use a fork. Get all those yolks broken up and get it all mixed well. My old chemistry teacher would say I'm denaturing the proteins by doing this. just set this aside. One piece of my turkey sausage. Just cut up into small pieces. And lots of protein here. A lot of these budget cooking challenges and making your food go as far as you can don't use a lot of meats. I'm a meat eater. I like meat. So now that I have my turkey sausage cut up, to much smaller, appropriate pieces, I'll set this to the side. Forgot to get my butter. I'm just lining or rubbing the butter down in the casserole dish. Keep the potatoes from sticking, hopefully. Gonna preheat my oven to 385 degrees. Butter up, wash my hands. Get down with it. My dog smells the sausage and the ground beef I have sitting out. Get down. Down. Move. I know. Alright, you can have one little piece. Sit. Sit. Sit or no food. Sit. Go on, sit. Sit. Good girl. There you go, that's all you get. I've got a 2-pound bag of the frozen hash browns here. I'm going to add approximately a pound, half the bag. Potatoes can take a lot of salt, so I'm going to salt them again. Just adding my meat. Just spreading it out so that there's meat throughout the dish. I could have used less meat than this. That's okay, I like meat. This is a breakfast casserole, so it's going to last me for... This is a 9 by 13 pan, I think. So it will last me 3 or 4 breakfasts. maybe 5 if I eat a small breakfast one day. To that, we're adding our eggs right over the top. I do have some cheese that I will add to this as I eat it. So it just kind of looks like this. Looks like a mess right now. The oven's not preheated yet, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it in to get it out of my way. And once it gets the heat, I'll let that cook for probably 25 minutes and then check to be sure the eggs are done all the way through. Now, we'll be making a hash brown casserole at some point. Potentially throw some meat in that as well. And now I'm just going to start browning the ground beef. 5.5 pounds at the reduced cost. Yes, and I have 2 cast iron skillets on top of the stove here because it will take both of them. One's fairly large, which will get the bulk of the meat. The other's a little smaller, but it can still handle quite a bit. And again, one of the reasons that I want to do this in bulk is because I did buy it at a reduced price because the date was close to being out. Now, I could have broke it down to half pound, 3/4 pound, pound packages into individual bags and kept it frozen. But I wanted to go ahead and do this as a bulk. I'm doing this on a medium-high heat, 7.5. I know a lot of this will go away, the salt that I'm adding when I drain the grease. Just let that start to cook a little bit, then I'll use my trusty meat masher. Once this gets going, I'm going to go ahead and get some rice going also, perhaps some pasta. I'm trying to cook almost everything that I'm going to need for this week at one time, portion it out, refrigerate it for 2 or 3 days, freeze it for beyond that. right in the center. I thawed this overnight, but right in the center section, still sort of frozen, but that won't take long to break up. When that's cooking, I'm just filling a pot with some water. You may have noticed already I don't use a whole lot of measurements. I cook by eye or by taste. Add just a little salt to this water. This is going to be for some pasta. Oven is preheated. Remember, I bought these little 8-ounce bags of pasta. Oh, sorry, 7-ounce bags of pasta. For like 30-some cents. Or 40 cents, I don't know, it wasn't much. I know lots of people wait for their water to start boiling before they add their pasta. I do not. Mashing the meat. I will come back and start recording. Now I'm back. It's been about 28 minutes. The casserole, breakfast casserole, is done. Move, Luna. Move, baby. Leave that alone. Leave it. Leave it. Good girl. Here is what the breakfast casserole looks like. You can see the sausage, the egg. Look real close, you can see a piece of potato or two at the top. Most of the potatoes are on the bottom. I'm going to set it in here on a trivet to cool. The ground beef and the pasta is also completed. I'm batch cooking the rice right now. A pound of rice. Now I'm going to be transferring most of the pasta meat into one pan, except what I'm going to be using with the spaghetti sauce. Again, this is one of my, this is my only, this and the sausage, well, I guess this, my only red meat source for the entire 5 weeks. But if you saw the unveiling of what I bought for the $119, you saw that I had fish, frozen and tuna. I had lunch meat, as well as the, and by lunch meat I mean the imitation Spam. I'm sure at some point I will be doing a rice dish for breakfast. Old timers used to do it all the time. Rice was a staple breakfast food, kind of like oatmeal. When you do that, it's not at all dry. It's a soupy, and you add a little sugar, honey, whatever you want to add to it, and eat it like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and get one of the cans of pasta sauce. I'm going to be using the 3 cheese. Rice has still got a little way to go. And I'm just rinsing my jar with a little bit of water to be sure that I get all of the pasta sauce out. The water will cook off as I heat it together. Gonna add just a little more meat. Now the hamburger meat, when it was done, I did remove as much of the grease as possible. I strained it. I ran extremely hot water over it. I put it back into the frying pans with a little bit of water. Let it cook for a couple of minutes more and drained that water to get the majority of the grease. That's really important. If you're just putting it in the freezer, it's not a big deal, but it is really important if you're going to be freeze drying any of it, which I plan to do. September is Preparedness Awareness Month, or something like that. National Preparedness Month is what September is. Which is funny to me because the government really doesn't want you raising your own food, growing your own food, raising your own livestock. but they want you to be prepared for some type of an emergency. Their preparedness is more like for extended power outage, a few days, hurricane, tornado, earthquake, those type of emergencies. So basically they want you to have anywhere from 3 days worth of food and water. Turn this rice down just a little. Don't want it boiling over. I may have to add a little more water after it soaks up all it's going to soak up. And again, just heating this pasta sauce and meat combo. I do have some Parmesan cheese that I can add to it that I had on hand. So the Parmesan cheese will not be included in the budget. This was an off-brand pasta sauce, but it smells really good. And yes, when I'm changing from one item to the other, I am rinsing my utensils. Just adding a little more water to my rice. I'm going to go ahead and add part of my pasta to the sauce and meat mixture. The rice is close to done. Just going to let it cook a little longer. Probably another 10 minutes. I believe that my meat and sauce and pasta is too big for the pan, so I'm going to go ahead and put it back in the pot that I have and return it to heat. This is basically a spaghetti and meat sauce, but it's made with the pasta or shells instead of spaghetti. I had more pasta than I thought. I may have to add a portion of another container of sauce. This is the tomato, basil, garlic. I'm just going to add a little of it. Refrigerate the rest. This will be fine in the refrigerator for a few days. Ah, that looks much better. I don't want it overly saucy, but I don't want it under saucy either, if that makes any sense. Rice is starting to look really close. It is quite warm. Just heating that enough to simmer off some of the additional water I added. There's probably, in this pot, probably half a pound to 3/4 of a pound of cooked ground beef. And I'm going to say that I have probably 4 pounds of ground beef that's been browned and ready to use in other dishes. Probably 4 pounds or somewhere in that neighborhood. Now that's not a whole lot for the 5 weeks, but I do have the fish, both frozen and canned. The imitation treat or Spam. Rice, beans, eggs. I mean, I've still got plenty of other protein sources. I think that I'll be able to get through these 5 weeks with just what I purchased pretty easily. When this rice is done and I have some of these pots and pans cleaned and some of this meat and pasta put away, I'm going to be making a sticky mango rice, or attempting to. You need a simple syrup for that, but I don't have any, so I'm going to make my own by just boiling sugar and water until it gets to a thicker syrup consistency. That's all a simple syrup is anyway, sugar and water. I have made that for use on pan. So I didn't have the camera turned on for what I did next. I prepared some of my shells and cheese or shells and meat sauce for storage. The jar that the pasta sauce came in, I just filled it up. It'll stay fine in the refrigerator. Freezer bag, just plain old freezer bag, so I don't have to eat this all immediately. I did take out what I'm eating tonight, and I still have enough to freeze dry some. With my rice, you missed me making just black beans and rice. Hopefully you can see that. And what I have in the pan currently is the rest of the rice for my sticky mango rice. You missed me making the simple syrup, which I put in there. I cut up my mango, entire mango, into little chunks. As you can see, hopefully. I added just a touch of salt, just a little garlic powder, about 3/4 of a carrot shredded, and a little bit of powdered milk. Now I'm just letting this cook down a little bit for the extra liquid that I added. I added a little more water. And as soon as this cooks down, I'm going to go ahead and put part of it in freezer bags. I'm going to have a container in the refrigerator, and I'm going to freeze dry the rest. Pancakes before. It's clear and it looks a little different than what you might normally use on your pancakes. But if you have brown sugar, you can do the same with brown sugar. Make your own syrup. And check my casserole. Still very warm. Okay, I will come back when I am doing something other than what I'm doing right now. Pancakes before. It's clear and it looks a little different than what you might normally use on your pancakes. But if you have brown sugar, you can do the same with brown sugar. Make your own syrup. And check my casserole. Still very warm. Okay, I will come back when I am doing something other than what I'm doing right now.